Hello, audience. Welcome to Soul Symphony. My name is Z. This is my channel. We're here to talk about healing, the different steps to also just help you with your healing process. So I hope that the information you get here inspires you if you are on a healing journey. If you are not, that's okay too. So just pass the information along, please, to someone who might need it. And so today, from the last episode that we talked about the three selves, today I will talk about victim mentality. Victim mentality is just a mindset. It's really a mindset, unfortunately, that starts most of the time after trauma or after just a traumatic event, after somebody goes through a traumatic event or through neglect. So neglect, mostly in childhood neglect. So so basically, how do we know? So what is, first of all, victim mentality? Victim mentality is really the feeling of not being hopeful, not being helpful to self, hopelessness, helplessness, feeling that everything that happens to us just happens through circumstances that we don't have a control over, that everything that happens to us is from outside. We cannot help but to just sustain the blow that comes toward us. So we have that tendency to, people who have victim mentality have the tendency to just basically feel very on a negative mindset of circumstances. Nothing happened to me that is good. Everything that happens to me just have a tendency to mess up my life. Things just don't happen my way. And most people who have victim mentality, from at least what I have seen, have depression because of that feeling of I cannot control nothing in my life. And unfortunately, we tend to end up in that mindset of just doomsday. Everything is just so negative in our mind. And also, the persistence of that can also play a mental anguish that we don't have a power to actually take ourselves into and out of any circumstance that is negative. So therefore, we tend to stay in relationships or into situations that are very toxic and detrimental to our mental health, our physical health too. So the external circumstances are the ones that that mental set is stuck on. Mental set that external circumstances are the ones that are kind of ruling our lives. We cannot do much about it besides just to stay in those circumstances, whatever they are. They can't, most of the time, they're not circumstances that are actually positive to our mental health or our physical health. So most people that actually I have seen, I thank God, even though I have sustained so much trauma, I have not had that victim mentality because I always had the tendency to think in a positive sense. I always had the mindset of seeing things in a different light. The perception of life has a lot to do with it. So if we focus more on the negative, if something happens to us, as a traumatic event, we're more likely to fall into that negative mindset, that victim mentality of feeling that nothing we have, nothing we do, everything is just negative. Everything just goes on that negative side of things. Instead of seeing positive in things, we focus more on negative. We see people are against us, people are just aggressing us. We people, and then we have the tendency to also see it as people are here to get us. So aggressiveness is another one. Trying to, everything that is said or done is seen as an attack. So that's another thing. And so I kind of know this next thing I'm gonna say because unfortunately I was married to a covert narcissist for over a decade. So I have seen certain patterns that I learned to recognize over time, and victim mentality is one of them. And the longer you stay, unfortunately, if you have sustained any narcissistic abuse, you are more likely to have, and if you stay with that person for a long time, that can wear onto you. Because at some point, I was a very positive person. And over time, I had to kind of see the pattern that my positivity were kind of being tainted by the negative side of things. I started kind of paying more attention to the negative instead of just seeing the positive in things. So I don't believe too much in coincidences. No matter how hard things get, no matter how hard things happen to us, or traumatic things that happen to us, I always see it as the divine or God or whoever or whatever you believe in as a higher power has basically a reason for that thing happening to us. And then also I see it as no matter how hard things get, we will get to the end of it. I will not say something positive will come out of it, but I will say that there will always be a light at the end of the tunnel. We can find ways to heal, to get out of that situation, and to learn from it. And also, sometimes, unfortunately, negative things are a lesson that is very, very detrimental or very important to whatever is coming next in our lives. And without that lesson, we will not be able to be resilient enough to sustain what's coming next. That might be actually a bigger lesson. So, to really know if you have a victim mentality, always ask yourself, how do I approach things in life? Do I approach them always in the negative side of things? Do I see it always in a negative? Do I always see that people are against me? Do I have envy and jealousy against people, toward people who I feel like certain things, why them, why not me? So that right there, if you can answer any of those, you might be able to pinpoint if you have a victim mentality or victim mindset. Now, I'm not saying that if you have it, it definitely can impact your life in a negative way. But again, I'm not saying that if you have it, that's something that can stop you from healing or from growing. But understanding that you have it and it's something that you should kind of just pay attention to and be intentional about, to intentionally force yourself to mentally pay attention when you're getting into that mindset, because it's a mindset. It's not something that's ingrained in us. It's not innate. It's not something that literally we were born with. It's something that we have unfortunately learned to to stay to stay as a trait after the trauma. So the same way it came, the same way it can go. It can go away. So we can focus on the healing process. Understanding it will actually push us to better ourselves by addressing it. And so those questions will definitely help. Those questions will be very good to be able to answer those questions. If you can answer yes, then okay. If not, then that's great. Then therefore you can move on to the next step of your healing journey. And the mental health part of things, it can have a very negative side, negative impact on mental health. Anxiety, depression, and especially anxiety. Depression, that's another one. So another thing, that some of the things that I always use in my case, since I was young, I realized that more I focus on negative, more negative things happen. So think about it this way. It's really the law of attraction. Negative things attract negative things. Positive things attract positive things. More you think about something in a negative way, more likely you are to attract things that are negative. If you think that, hey, I'm not going to get that job, more likely you might not get it, because you already kind of, it's almost like self-fulfilling prophecy. If you say, hey, you know what, I'm not going to get this, you're going to find a way to kind of just sabotage it, okay, so that you don't get it. Or something might just happen that might be stopping you from getting it. But either way, more you think negative and more you're intentionally paying attention that you think in that negative mindset, that victim mentality, more likely you are to force yourself to stop yourself from doing that. Stop yourself from doing it. intentionally tell yourself, oh, I'm falling into that mindset again. Let me not. Let me think more positive. Let me see life in a more positive way. It's training. You kind of train your brain. You train your brain to rewire. Instead of seeing negative in everything that happens, it will rewire to see positive instead. But you have to intentionally stop yourself from doing it. Therapy is also very important. Therapy, during therapy sessions, therapists usually can give us, like, they will give you different exercises. Self affirmation is one of it. If you still do positive affirmations every day in the mirror, looking at yourself, telling yourself, for example, like, today gonna be a great day. Or you go into some job interview, instead of just thinking, oh, I don't know, I'm not gonna get it. I'm not gonna get that job. Go to the mirror, stare at yourself a couple minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, tell yourself how this job is the one, and you are going to get it. You are going to get it. You're the great candidate for this job, and this job is great for you, and you are going to get this job. And also, gratitude is another one. Practicing gratitude, even not for just mental, for the victim mentality, on a daily basis, is great to practice gratitude instead of focusing on what you don't have, or what is going so bad for you, or what's not going the way you want it. Basically, the negative side of things. It's better to sit down and think about, okay, that thing is not going my way, but what else is going my way? All these things that I have are so positive in my life. They are going the way I want them. I have a roof on my head. I have food. I have a car to drive. I don't have car problems. I have a job. I have, just be grateful. Count all the things that you have instead of focusing on the things that you don't have, or the things that are not going your way, or the things that somebody else has that you don't have. Instead of comparing yourself to somebody else, it's better for you to just make sure that you focus on what you have. That's literally gratitude and being grateful that you have those things, because no matter how bad things get, somebody else has it worse. So if we sit down and always think about it in that sense, that no matter how bad things get, somebody else got it worse. So if it's just, for example, oh, I want to buy that car, I couldn't afford that car, why not? Instead of focusing on the fact that you could not afford it, it's better to just be like, okay, I cannot afford it right now, but if I save some money, I might be able to get it. Or if I just maybe trade the car I have and add a little bit money to it, maybe I can get it. Finding solutions, focusing on solutions. Instead of focusing on the problems, focusing on the solutions. That's a great way, also daily basis. Everything we do in life, try to see the positives. Stay on the positive, focus on the positive, have a solution mindset, not a problem mindset. Because more you see problems, more you attract problems. That's literally how it goes. And that's from my own experience that I'm saying this. And also, the resilience. We built resilience by going through hardship, and by being grateful, and also by being positive affirmations, being grateful with what we have, we become more resilient. Even when things happen that are so hard, we less likely to for them to it's less likely for them to impact us very hard, or very in a very negative way, because we have this already coping mechanism that helps us stay in a positive mindset. So even when something is really, really big and negative that happens, or detrimental, because we have this coping mechanism, our mind is rewired not to see so much of the negative, but it kind of minimizes the negativity in that situation. It makes it a little bit less. So therefore, we can take it a little bit more, and we are not as anxious about it. We're not as depressed about it. Mentally, it will not affect us as much. And seeing things in a different perspective, seeing life in a different perspective. That, okay, things might not go my way. This is not probably, I don't have a solution for it in the way that I want that solution to go. But maybe let me find another solution, or let me ask a friend for advice, or my therapist for advice, and let's see if actually there's another solution that I might not see. So that's another one that I think that is very important. And practicing mindfulness. Practicing mindfulness is the last thing that, not even just again for the victim mentality, mindset, it's mostly on a daily basis. If you're on your healing journey or not, it's very important to keep yourself grounded still, to keep yourself grounded, to keep your stress as least as possible. And practicing mindfulness is a way to keep that stress low, to keep yourself focused, to keep yourself also your energy to be balanced, your life to be balanced. So practicing mindfulness is mostly just journaling intentionally. You make sure you journal. If something at the end of the day, you can journal what happened. It doesn't have to be something huge. It doesn't have to be something important. Hey, my day was great today. I had a donut, whatever it is, And also excuse me, long walks is another one. Taking long walks, an hour walk, 30-minute walk. You can just walk with music. You can do that, or just with silence, just for to clear your mind. I do that myself, just to clear your mind. If you're not a gym person, walking, that's something that you can do on a daily basis or every other day. It's up to you or how much time you have actually to squeeze that in your schedule. Meditation, that's something you can do at home. It's very important to have a quiet little space in your home where you can just sit down quietly. You don't have to have like a whole meditation mat or a whole meditation room to do that. You can have a little corner in the house or in an apartment to just sit down to quietly listen to your mind, because we have so much going on during the day, running around, working, grocery shopping, taking care of kids, taking care of chores in the house. So by the time you know it, it's already time for bed, and then you get up and you repeat again next day. So it's very important to have time to practice mindfulness. If you can do yoga, that's great too. Yoga every other day or even if it's on the weekend. Honestly, it depends on how much time you have. But just intentionally doing it, that's what's very important. Do it intentionally. Get up and do it intentionally. Put it on your schedule. Not just, oh, I'm going to do it today and then I'm not going to do it again until another month. Then by then, your body or the techniques you learned previously, you already forgot. So it's better to just do it intentionally on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, just to squeeze it somewhere every other day. That's just basically, I think that is very important. So I'm going to start putting at the end of the videos, I'll put some resources where you can also go and read about all the topics that I'll be talking about. And I hope that this is helpful. If not, please pass it along to whoever might need it. So I'll go ahead and stop right here. All right.